When life feels too unpredictable, most of us share the exact same reflex. We try to organize it. We create strict plans, systems, and structures to force our lives into neat, predictable rows to keep our inner world from spinning out of control. We trick ourselves into thinking that if we can just master the right sequence of actions, if we do everything exactly right, we will finally feel safe. Being good or productive quickly becomes a transaction. The biological cost of this approach is exhausting. The satisfaction of gaining control lasts about 10 minutes. Then the nervous system immediately asks for a new, more complicated hit of achievement to keep the anxiety at bay. Treating inner peace as a managerial task always fails. Trying to organize your way to calmness is merely wearing a spiritual costume over a deep-seated reflex of fear. We operate from a baseline state called foundation, where emotion acts as identity. You don't say, "I feel fear." You say, "I am failing." This fusion kicks off a frantic behavioral sequence. You bounce relentlessly off the walls of rigid coping mechanisms. These reactions bypass your intellect completely. Every small failure feels like a crisis, leaving you bracing against a constant current of doubt that you are always trying to outrun. The real problem is that a pattern isn't the emotion itself. A pattern is the exhausting list of things you do to avoid feeling the emotion. The alternative to this endless loop is witness consciousness, and we have to get this myth out of the way immediately. Witnessing does not mean floating above your life in some state of numb detachment. It is the messy reality of dual awareness. You stand directly in the middle of your own anxiety or grief, while simultaneously sensing a vast, steady presence observing right alongside you. This shift rarely arrives as a grand breakthrough. It shows up as a glimpse. You catch yourself reaching for your old coping mechanisms, but instead of stopping the impulse, you just watch it happen. The goal of this state isn't to force your behavioral pattern to shut down. The goal is to see it running and realize it is no longer the only thing in the room. If we strip away the spiritual vocabulary, neuroscience calls this exact state meta-awareness, the brain's physical ability to monitor its own processes in real time. When observing an emotion, activity increases in the anterior cingulate and insula. The brain actively integrates the feeling. Simultaneously, the medial prefrontal cortex activates, strengthening communication between the thinking and feeling brain. This separates the emotion from your identity, downgrading it into manageable data. This neurological data provides a physical framework for decades of private spiritual inquiry. It describes consciousness doing exactly what it has done for millennia, looking for itself. The Bhagavad Gita identifies this exact phenomenon with precision. The one who knows the field and its knower, that person alone sees truly. From the inside, witness consciousness does not feel like experiencing less emotion. It physically feels like you have built more room to hold it. Out in daily life, this dual awareness changes how you navigate hard moments. A bad experience will still feel bad, but it is accompanied by an unquestionable steadiness underneath it. Your difficult emotions finally serve their actual purpose. Anger turns into a tool for clarity. Anxiety acts as a signal of uncertainty, rather than a sign of dysfunction. Loneliness becomes an invitation to return to yourself. When you stop bypassing these feelings, they finally get to move. They process and metabolize completely, passing through without hardening into a permanent pattern. The ultimate point of awareness is not to always feel good. The point is to guarantee that you stop abandoning yourself when you don't. This spinning radar chart plots hundreds of individual behavioral data points. Very soon, artificial intelligence will be extraordinarily good at this. It will map your behavioral data and reflect your tendencies flawlessly from the outside. But there is a massive difference between a pattern being logged from the outside and observing a pattern from the inside while it is running. That second kind of seeing is witness, and it cannot be outsourced to a machine. As this dual awareness solidifies, your actions shift from effortful management to inspired response. By removing the internal friction of anxious effort, you stop blocking the very things you were trying to force. Witness consciousness offers a very specific choice. We can stop treating life as a threat that needs to be managed and finally allow it to be an experience we receive.